Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. You know it's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I got a question for you guys. Because I do this and I'm kind of ashamed. In my heart, I know it's not the right thing, but I do this all the time. Okay, say you're in your car, you're driving, and somebody cuts you off. They don't use their blinker. They're cutting in front of people. Do you assign a personality, a character to them, like say like somebody that to a group that you don't like you're prejudging them, or it's like a form of prejudice? Because I do this. Or do you, like, say you read an opinion in a newspaper, which is the topic of today's video, and I read something that's blatantly dishonest, and I assign. I'm like, honestly, when I see stuff like this, I think it must be a conservative, because I think conservatives are dishonest, and I know this isn't the right thing to do, and I'm wondering if you guys do this too. Like I said, if you're driving your car and you see somebody's driving bad and they cut you off, like say you're a chauvinist, and you have a particular view of women, and you get cut off, you can't really tell who the driver is. Do you assign, you have this opinion of women, do you say, oh, that must be a woman driver? Or if it's a particular, or you have a problem with a particular group of people, well, this person must be from here or from there, or a race or religion or whatever, and I know it's a form of prejudice, even though with me it's political. It's like when I see something dishonest, I think it's a conservative. If I see a bad driver or rude driver, I think it's a conservative. And I know this is wrong to do, but today I was right. Okay, so what am I talking about? I found an article. I think it's an opinion piece in the Telegraph, and I wasn't sure what the Telegraph was. This popped up on my cell phone. There's this sometimes when I can't find any stories, my cell phone gives me a bunch of news. Like if I flip it, I have an Android. If I flip it one way, it shows me my apps. If I flip it to the left, it'll show me the news. And I flip it to the left, and I don't usually look at this stuff because it's like Fox News and the New York Post. It's just a lot of conservative stuff. And I found this opinion piece in the Telegraph. So I looked this up because right off the bat, I saw something dishonest. This is about supermarket checkouts and self-serve, where you check out yourself, which I am a big fan of. I'll get to that more in a second. So this person from this media outlet, the Telegraph, he talks about how he hates self-serve checkouts, but he's being dishonest. I don't know exactly. I've never been to England or the UK. Same thing. And I don't know. I'm assuming that the self-checkouts there are just the same as they are here. And he's being dishonest. Either he's never been through a self-checkout or he's being dishonest. And right off the bat, I was like, this guy's got to be conservative. And there's other stuff, too, that he said about his double chin. And so he's overweight and the stuff he was eating. And I was like, oh, this guy's definitely a conservative, And I know I shouldn't do that because it's a form of prejudice. And then, so right before I was going to make this video, the last thing I was going to do is I was going to look up where, I had never heard of the Telegraph. So I looked it up, and it turns out it is a conservative news outlet in the UK. So I was right. It was, but I still know that it's wrong of me to do this, So anyway, let me tell you what this guy said. He's rallying against, I guess they might be taking out some self-serve checkouts in the UK. So he says it's about time. And he gives his opinion. He says he believes it's convenient for the supermarket bosses. And I don't know. I don't know if that's completely true. He says, what are they going to want us to do next? Stock the shelves? Stock shelves? Are they going to want us to clean up the aisles? And then he says this. He says, if you go in on a Saturday morning, he says, if you go in at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, there's like one checkout that's a live person. He says you'll see a long line for the one, so he's saying that people in general, he doesn't think people in general like self-serve checkouts. If they have a choice, that they'll prefer the live person, which I don't believe that's true. So he says this. He says he goes in on a Saturday morning and he doesn't want to be confronted because he's talking about I know only one store I know had these things, these live video feeds. It was Walmart. I don't know if I could say that in this video. I don't know if I'll still get monetized if I mention a big box store. They used to have the video feed where you could see yourself right in front of the checkout. I never knew of any other store that had this, and they've taken those out. They don't have those anymore. I'm not even sure what the purpose of those were. I mean, you're being watched. I guess they want you to know how closely you're being watched. They could see exactly what you're doing with your hands, and they could see everything. I guess that's the point of them. But he says this. He says he doesn't want to be confronted with a live video feed at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning with his double chin. So I'm like, okay, this guy's overweight. And then he talks about he says, is this to get me to buy something more healthy? Because he says, is this an effort to not get him to buy his beer and crisps? At first I thought it said, pork skins, when I first read it, because I'm in America. I don't know what crisps are. I assume they're potato chips. But then when I reread it, because I put it in my own, I thought it said pork skins. And it actually says crisps. So I think he's talking about potato chips. And he says, is this an effort to put this back and make me go get carrot and Evian? So to me, this is a conservative again. He thinks that the camera feed is in an effort to brainwash him. Which I think that's never occurred to me whenever I've seen a live video feed, like I said, at the box store, that they're watching the particular items I'm buying through the video feed. I think that's the last thing anybody's concerned with. And in the contrary, that's another reason why I don't like to go to the live person, because a lot of times I buy stuff like, I work out 4 hours a day. I eat healthy. I have protein drinks and all that, but I still have my faults. And I've actually had a person look into my carriage and ask if I was buying for like a 10-year-old at home, and I was buying food for myself. So this person was actually saying that I eat like a 10-year-old boy. And when I go through the live checkout, and I see this, I see a person looking at my food, I'm wondering what they're thinking of my food. And this is one of the reasons why I don't go to a live checkout. So this person is it's interesting because we both have the same worry, the same fear, but he thinks it's with the camera and I think it's with the live person. Now this is where he gets dishonest, and this is the reason I'm making this video, because it bothered me. This was blatantly dishonest. When I see something that is blatantly dishonest, like in a news media outlet, I have to talk about it. And like I said, immediately I thought this guy must be a conservative because he's lying. Either he's lying or he's talking out his butt because he has no idea what a real self-checkout is like. And he says this enables craftier customers to rip off the labels and put to put a cheaper price on their items. And then he goes on to say that, stores are being ripped off and they're losing all this money because of this. And this is blatantly false, because if you've ever been to any checkout, any self-checkout anywhere, and I'm assuming, because I've seen the pictures from this news article, and I assume they're in the UK, and they look just like the ones we have here. These things are registered. When you put your item, you have to take your item from this side, from your carriage, scan it, and then put it down on the table. And that's the reason they have like one person, they have one store employee watching about 10 registers, which is a lot cheaper than 10 people checking out 10 employees checking out 10 customers or whatever. They have one employee watching 10 customers to make sure they're doing it in this order. And the most important thing is they're putting their stuff down on this table. Why? Because that table weighs each item, and each item is scanned in when they put the item on the shelf. They scan in all the particulars, the ISBN code and all that, and they weigh. It's amazing how accurate these scales are, because the other day we don't get paper bags at our store anymore, which drives me crazy, because I even though I have reusable bags all stocked up in my car, I like to get paper bags to use for garbage bags, to put garbage in and put other stuff in. I like having paper bags. And the store employee brought a paper bag over to me because she knows that, like, that I was going to ask for one anyway. And she had to register. She had to type in, because I thought she was charging me for the paper bag because she put it on that table, and she wasn't. She was putting in the weight of that paper bag. Now we're just talking, ounces. How much does a paper bag weigh? I mean, these things are accurate to a incredible degree, because I've made mistakes before, and it'll pick up on a difference in weight. If something isn't completely on or whatever, it picks up the least little, like to a gram weight. So what he's saying here is that he's claiming that the stores are losing all this money, and it's a big problem because people are changing the stickers, and that's impossible. It is, because if you do that, the alarms are going to sound right away. I know, because I've seen it happen, and I've had it. People have put the wrong sticker, or maybe the sticker accidentally got placed on my item. But after I looked at the item and I could see there was another sticker, stuck on it. It was probably just accidental. But the alarm goes off right away because the sticker doesn't match the weight of that item down to the tenth of a gram of a degree. So this guy is being dishonest here, because that's his biggest argument, that the stores are losing money because of these, So the whole point of this video, though, is as soon as I read this article, I assigned, in my mind, I'm like, this guy's a conservative because he's overweight. He's eating crap food, beer. He drinks, he eats potato chips, he's got a double chin, and he's lying, so he must be a conservative. And I know this is wrong to do. I do, it's a form of prejudice, and I still do it, and I still believe it in the back of my head, even though I'm saying I shouldn't do it. When I see somebody, like if I see a big diesel truck, which I've rallied against in these videos, cut me off or whatever, I'm 100% certain that guy's a conservative. He's driving like an idiot. He thinks he owns the road. He must be a conservative. And I see somebody lying like this, and I think they must be a conservative. And half the time, more than half the time, a good percentage, more like 90% of the time, I'm actually right. So I just want to know if you guys do this too. Do you judge people? Like when you see somebody doing something aggravating or dishonest, do you immediately assign, a political outlook to them, or a race, or or gender, or whatever? Something that you already have a prejudged idea about. Let me know. All right, I'll be back later with another video. I got to talk about something else too. I remembered something that happened when I was going to the clinic. The methadone clinic, and it has to do with UAs. I believe that's what they're called. I'll talk more about that in the next video. You guys have a good Saturday.